Hey, what's up, Giants fam? This is Mike Trainer. You can find me Mike Trainer MFT on Twitter. You can find Jules NYC1 on Twitter, and then John, of course, NYG Slap Race, and he slap the shit out of you. Guess what, guys? It's franchise tag day. Yay!
Tag day!
Giants fans. Giants fans, spoiler alert, Giants fans. All you guys that you want on the Giants, they all got tagged today. Okay? They're not coming here. Kenny Galladay, done. Everybody's done. Guys, it's franchise tag day. Can you imagine like growing up, like you had a job or whatever, and another job you want to go switch jobs, but your original job, just franchise tags you can't go nowhere. Like what if like I worked at a supermarket when I was a kid at A&P? What if ShopRite wanted me, and then AP was like, no, we're gonna put the franchise tag on you because you bag so well and you can't leave. Can you imagine that?
You slice that deli meat so good and thin, bro. You're definitely getting tagged.
Slice that meat. Yo, it's crazy. Like, can you imagine that shit? It's like fucking like you're like a slave or some shit, man.
Well, you know what? Look, if that was the case, I would hope I would get tagged in year 2 as well, because then you get that 20% salary increase, which isn't bad, right?
Hey, listen, when I worked at a supermarket, I made $4.25 my first year.
You see that shit? You would have got a whole $5.
Yeah, I could have rounded up to $5 if they let me go. Man, that was the best job I ever had. I don't know about you guys. Like, it was one of the best jobs I ever had. I mean, we'll get to you guys in a second, but I tell you, man, when I worked there, it was fucking fantastic. I did everything there. I worked there as like front end manager, and I was like kind of like in charge of like the mentally challenged people. Like they just bag for us. I'm not good, I'm not making fun of them because they were just fun. Of course they were funny. They were fun to work with, but those fucking people, they didn't give a fuck about anything. They throw eggs at the bottom of the bag, throw fucking gallons of milk on top of it. They were so fun and so fucking cool. One of the guys who was retarded, like he used to give me like a fist bump all the time, like without even looking at me. Like I come around the corner, he's like right there. He was mad cool. But they always had like the best stories, man. Like, let me just give you a quick couple stories about what these guys did. I don't want to give their real names. I'll call the first one Kirby. So I told Kirby, I'm like, grab all the carts at like the outside in the parking lot and bring them in. I told him go outside, do that for a while, and I forgot that he went out there. All of a sudden, it's like 3 hours later. I'm like, where the fuck is Kirby, right? And then all of a sudden, I see him like pop right back in. I'm like, Kirby, where the hell you been? You've been gone for 3 hours. Like, oh, I went to the movies around the fucking block in fucking Bronxville. In Bronxville, there's like a movie theater, like right around the corner. He went to go see like Free Willy or fucking E.T. or some shit for fucking 3 hours. Then another guy, I'll call him Jonathan. So Jonathan, he was dating this other, mentally challenged person called Tina. And all of a sudden, like, I guess he went to the bus stop around the corner and he was getting a BJ from her, right? Some lady from Bronxville. Meanwhile, I'm like the front end manager. So the lady, a concerned customer came in and she comes up to me. She's like, he's getting a BJ at the bus stop. So I was like, it's fucking awesome. Good for him. Like, and I'm like, what do you want me to do about it, lady? Like, you want me to go there and clap? She's like, oh my God, it's mortified. Like, okay, it's in public. I'm like, when he gets back, I'll talk to him. You know what I mean? Yo, it says they were just fun as hell, man. It was just really fun working with those guys. I missed that.
So you would have been all right with a franchise tag then?
I would have stayed. Yeah, I would have been happy to get 20% and to give my $5 and stay, man. What about you guys? Like, what was your best job or like jobs that you missed like growing up? Did you even have one?
Well, I mean, listen, you know what? I'll have to shout it out there because if not, guys that we all know will definitely shout me out for it. But I can't say it was one of my favorite jobs. But when I was like, in high school and all that, I did work at Toys R Us, right? And that was a thing back then. And that was actually a toy store that existed, right? And the only cool thing about it was that I used to be able to make extra money on the side because there'd be these retarded freaking people, these grown ass men coming into the store and they want like an action figure. And they're like, look, the new Star Wars movie's coming out. If you could get me the new Princess Leia, bro, there's like a $20 bill in the fee. And I'm like, what? So I was sitting in the back and I started opening up the box. Like, oh yeah, I got to put this on the shelf. Don't worry about it. And I'm like digging through the box for these fucking action figures that I would then have to hide in the storeroom and shit just to try to make like an extra $20 a week, like doing this kind of nonsense. But yo, after a while, it kind of got to be like a little racket. Like, yo, you were pulling down like an extra $100, $150. Yo, like high school, that shit was great, dude.
And then
that wasn't the type of shit I was doing.
And then John, we all actually used to hang out like in back of Toys R Us and drink. And Jules used to come out with like Jeffrey the giraffe and shit for like all of us. Like we used to hang out with fucking big giraffes around us, man. Those were
I
the
think
days,
Jeffrey's
man.
gonna be pretty mad. I think Jules just incriminated himself. We're gonna have to check
Oh,
this
yeah,
back.
listen, good luck proving that shit. Now the company went under. No wonder why they went under.
Oh yeah, true. You can blame me now. You're Nancy on the headstone.
You know,
Oh,
listen, when that Tickle Me Elmo thing came out, man, that shit was crazy. They even limited us to just having two. I bought two of those things that were selling for like $39.99. I think I sold them for like $1.50 each, bro. It was great, dude.
I would have been one of those guys that buying those Tickle Me Elmos, man. I wanted one back in the day. I'm like, yo, I gotta get them. I gotta get it.
Seriously, man, that shit was like
shout
hot
out,
commodity there, man. That was the kind of stuff you could do back in the day. You were selling toys for like shit under the table. It was great.
Shout out to
Bro, 15 years ago to now, 20 years ago to now, we live in an entirely different universe. Just those shit that you were able to get away with, like literally everything. The words you could say, things you could do. You could, and in school, you go to somebody, you slap in the face, like you don't get fucking put in jail. You know what I mean,
right.
All kinds of crazy shit.
Teachers used to beat the shit out of you, fucking slap your hand with the ruler, slap you in the back of the head if you acted out. Man, you can't do that shit no more. Now you get timeout.
Shit anymore, man.
Did you guys get this? Did you guys get this? I just got an alert on my phone a couple seconds ago. Alex Smith, he was interviewed, and I guess he was interviewed, and his comments said that the Washington football team didn't want him there. So I guess he's out. Yeah, some crazy going on in Washington.
Well, listen, you know, there is a lot of crazy talk going around the league, but before we really get into some of that, because we're definitely going to get into some of the tags and some other talk around the league and everything else. One thing I did want to shout out, though, I was last night invited on Big Blue in the Bronx podcast. This kid Alex out of the Brooklyn, right? He's been running this podcast for a while now. He does a great job doing it. Talks a lot of Giants, Yankees stuff. He's actually a listener now too. Had the opportunity to get out there. You could catch the pod. It was just sent out this evening, right? Again, Big Blue in the Bronx. Check it out, man. I was on with him last night. We had a lot of great things to talk about. Cool guy. Might even get him on the show a little later on this year. But, gives us a big shout out, and we wanted to make sure we return that. And check it out, man. I was on the episode myself. It was a good one. I'm not going to get into too many details. I'll let you guys check that out and listen to it just as an alternative listening one to listen to later this week.
Yeah, if you follow us on Giants Brawl, we retweeted it tonight, favorite, so you can catch it on there. Definitely.
And I'll probably post it on our Facebook page, which I'll get into more a little bit later on. But there'll be definitely different avenues where you can check it out. Like I said, he's more of one of these guys that just kind of straight shoot it like we do. He's not into being one of those geeky stat type of guys or just kind of regurgitating all the nonsense that you usually hear from all the other sports announcers and stuff that goes on all the daily, And by the way, guys, he's kind of a Gettleman supporter too. He's about 50-50 on it. Sort of like where I kind of fall, not like I hate the guy, but far from hating the guy, but not saying far that I love him as much either. So definitely a good episode. Check it out. Big Blue in the Bronx for sure.
He's a smart dude, man, to be a Gettleman supporter. That's for sure. Hey, listen.
That's what I said. I was like, oh man, I don't know if I can let you on the show, bro. I already got two lovers on Gettleman.
Well, let's see what Gettleman does, in the next couple of weeks before March 9th, before the franchise tag wears off. And, we got two guys, Leonard Williams and Dalvin, maybe franchises tags, both of them. Maybe we able to get a guy like Kenny Galladay. I think Detroit is probably going to end up franchises tagging him, but they want to trade him, and they're looking for a second-round pick. I mean, you're not going to get a second-round pick for Kenny Galladay. You might get, if you're lucky, a third, but I would offer a fourth-round pick.
I mean, listen, the reality is, so at first I was sitting there and now that, look, today's officially tag day, right? So now it's going to go until March 9th, where teams are now allowed to put the franchise tag on their players that they see that they have to keep and they can't get a new contract worked out and that they could fit under the cap, because it's not like a guarantee that you can literally just go out and franchise tag someone and be able to afford it with the cap situation, especially that the cap is going down this year, right? It was at about 198 million or so last season. And now they're saying it's going to go down, and they haven't set an actual number. I don't know why, but apparently it's supposed to be between like 180 and 185. So you literally got to really scrape off almost another 15 million off the top without even cutting anyone. And now you got to start figuring in who's going to be able to be capped, which is automatic hit against the cap, versus guys that you could like restructure, which we've been kind of hitting on. We'll get into a little more detail. But, at first I was sitting there and, the big names, obviously, at wide receiver that we've talked about 100 times, blew in the phrase, Chris Godwin, Kenny Galladay, Allen Robinson. You know, you could even throw in Juju Smith under that mention. You know, for the most part, I don't think any of those guys are gonna leave their team, right?
Yeah.
And then I've been holding strong on that. I have a really good feeling. But when we started talking about Kenny Galladay, because that was a name that kind of came up yesterday in the news, especially with some of the writers with the Giants and starting to say that they might bring this guy here. We might be able to get him. There's possibility he could hit free agency. They do have an issue. Believe it or not, they're going to take a little bigger hit after that trade. You know, the whole Stafford swap for Goff is actually costing the Lions more. And they do trust and believe in Goff, but if they couldn't get a deal with Galladay done last season, and to franchise him, it's going to be about an 18.5, 19 million hit against their cap in the current year, where they'll have to take that full hit on. You know, as much as it sounds good, it's going to be difficult. I mean, they lose Marvin Jones, they lose Danny Amendola, so they're losing their receiving core there. And the idea would be that they would do whatever they can to keep Galladay. But if Galladay doesn't do like a hometown quote unquote discount, he could end up a free agent, and that could make things interesting.
That's the only reason why you would not franchise somebody is because of that big balloon payment right there going against your cap, right? If they don't got the money, then obviously a guy could go like in that route. That's the only reason. Otherwise, why wouldn't you? If you're a team and you know other teams want your pending free agent, why wouldn't you just franchise him just to get at least like a 4th or a 5th or a 6th round draft pick for basically doing nothing? You know that new team is going to eventually pay him anyway. So you franchise him, you send them, you let him work out a deal with the new team. It just makes sense that way.
Yeah, it's tough, man. The thing that's going to be interesting this offseason is in the last few drafts, you've had really, really deep wide receiver classes. So I wonder if teams look at that and say, listen, I can get a quality player with my 2nd or 3rd round pick, groom him to be, you know, like a homegrown guy, groom him my own offense, my system. And that'll prevent teams from wanting to really give. When you franchise somebody, you're paying them, I think it's the average of the top 5 players at that position, which for wide receivers, you know, that's, you know, going to be, I'm assuming 16, 17, $18 million payday for the year. So you might, you know, with the salary cap declining or decreasing, and then, you know, the kind of surplus, I guess you can say, of potential receivers in the draft, and you might find teams like, you know, Detroit letting Kenny Galladay go, and you get a guy like that, Allen Robinson. You can get a guy like that on the Giants. Oof, boy, that would be fucking exciting.
It definitely would be exciting. Like I said, I mean, I don't know if the Giants can structure it properly. It's going to be tough because, you know, you're looking at Dalvin Tomlinson, you're looking at Leonard Williams, right? And for us to put all the work that we put into Leonard Williams and him coming off of one of his career seasons, to let him walk, right? It's going to be detrimental to the team, right? And then if you were to somewhat put a franchise tag on Leonard Williams, I can't even sit and defend that, because literally you would end up paying this guy like $35 million over the last 2 seasons, and he's not even guaranteed long term. I mean, that's a hell of a commitment into a guy that can literally get that kind of payday and then be in 2022, be like, all right, thanks, Giants. Thanks for the payday. I'll see you guys later, and leaves on us, right? So, I mean, that's a guy where, look, you could look back, right? I mean, if you go back to, I believe it was like 2001, you know, you had a player like Tiki Barber who signed this huge contract, and he got that $14 million guaranteed, and he was willing to split it up, right? He took $7 million year 1 and took the other $7 million year 2, which gave a little bit less of a hit against the cap for the Giants, right? And then the whole thing when Michael Strahan came into play, and that was a big thing back then. And this is kind of sort of similar to that again, where you would hope that maybe Dalvin Tomlinson does that, takes that little sort of quote unquote home team discount, where he could spread out that guaranteed money over 2, maybe 3 seasons, so it's not that much of an upfront hit for the Giants. And then we have a little bit more room to work Leonard Williams' contract in, or Leonard Williams does something like that, where he's fully committed to Joe Judge and he likes the whole environment and community that's building there. And he says, all right, screw it. You know what? You know, if you're going to guarantee me this money, no matter what, you can spread it over the next 2 seasons, 3 seasons. And I'm okay with that. Because look, I don't know about you guys, but for me, if you're going to tell me that I'm guaranteed, say, I'm just going to throw out a crazy number, say $15 million, and you're telling me that you're going to give me that $15 million over the next 3 years, I'm okay with that. That means I'm guaranteed to get paid $5 million a year for the next 3 years, no matter what happens to my career.
Yeah, you know, especially now you get those free agents, you get a lot of guaranteed money. But Jules, I was saying it last week. I think on the surface, the numbers that they're talking about that we got only $8 million. I'm telling you, man, if you look at what the Giants are set up for in 2022, 2023, and 24, we have a ridiculous amount of cap space. So don't, and this is not just for you, but for all Giants fans, like they're trying to paint this picture that we're in some kind of cap hell. We are fucking not at all, like literally at all. So just because this offseason, you know, it doesn't look on paper as great as it potentially could if you're like, you know, the Jets or whatever it is, where they have all this available money. We do next season, and that's exactly how they could, you know, bonuses and all that shit. Like I said last week, I think the Giants can make a bigger splash than you think. I really, really, really don't think that Leonard Williams or Dalvin Tomlinson are going anywhere. I think they're going to sign contracts, both of them, for 3 or 4 years.
I wonder if they get like a high, like you know, bonus, like signing bonus, to like lower the contract. But like you're right, John, because they could, you know, later on they don't have to, you know, pay them all up front the first like couple years where it might be a little like tight. They could put like a lot of money like later on. They could sign guys to like 3, 4, 5 year deals if they want, and you could extend that money out there. I think they could do it that way, and then you're right, we'll be fine. We could get
we
guys,
have a lot of
you know.
We have. I mean, we don't. You look at other teams. You know, you look at the Buccaneers. Look at you know, the Chiefs. Like they have people who are making ridiculous salaries. We have literally none. Like none. That's why. I was getting a little blown away. Like, who are these overpaid players that we have on our team? Like all this like this just cornucopia of high contracts with no salary cap. Look what the other teams have. We have nothing even close. All of our players are either, you know, second tier free contracts, and or most of them are on rookie deals. Like we have a lot of space. I promise you, it's going to look a lot different than you think.
And you know what's crazy is too, and I don't know why it's not, I guess, you know, being publicized on social media and all the other, like, you know, sports outlets that are available. You know, the whole thing with Dak Prescott in Dallas, man, that's a huge thing they got to work out. Here's a guy that's coming off of a big time injury. We don't even know. We hasn't even, like, I don't even know if he's run or done anything right physically over the last how many months. And now if Dallas decides to just throw another franchise on him, they got to pay him 20% extra from what he made last season, which was just ridiculous, right? So, like, you know, that's insane right there. I mean, like, you're talking about paying this guy like an extra $5-6 million, and you're not even sure if he's going to be able to be 100%, or they got to try to sign him to a deal. So, like, to me, I think there's other teams in the NFC East that have a lot more things that they got to worry about and worry than the Giants do, as far as, you know, re-signing Dalvin or re-signing Leonard or whatever the case may be. I mean, you know, just think about that. I mean, like Dak Prescott, like they're saying there's still a hot commodity, and other teams would jump on the opportunity to sign him. And, you know, look, it's getting a little crazy with how these quarterbacks are just kind of jumping ship, and they're running all over the league. I mean, obviously, you know, Wentz going to Indy, and then, you know, the whole Stafford Goff trade that had taken place a while ago. You know, they did say, Mike, what was the number? I forget. They said that was going to be like 10 transactions or 10 new quarterbacks in the NFL or something. Or was it some certain number? I know.
I think John said 18 last week or something.
18.
Yeah, it was like it was like 18. I mean, that's just ridiculous, though. You're talking about more than 50% of the teams. Like I mean, you wouldn't even have that kind of turnover if you did a legitimate Madden fantasy draft. Like you would have less turnover than that.
Well, I mean, check it out though, real quick, right? I mean, look, if you look at that, there's 2 that have already been done, right? You're going to say that there's going to be a new one in Jacksonville. There's going to be possibly a new one in Carolina. You know, you know, we don't know about the Jets yet. You know, you could argue that back and forth, but that's already 5 teams, right? If they only have 5 more, which at this point, with the crazy talk of Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson hasn't even ended up anywhere yet, right? All of a sudden, even we got to just 10 or 11. Yeah, that's 1/3 of the league that all of a sudden switched around their quarterbacks and have new quarterbacks playing. Like, that's a little crazy too.
Oh, it is.
Because I don't know if you guys have read, like, there's been a lot of talk. This Michael Silver of the NFL Network basically went out today and posted an article basically stating that Russell Wilson and Seattle aren't getting along anymore. Like, you know, because he went out and criticized the O-line, you know, Russell Wilson just wants a little bit more sort of like say when it comes to the personnel that's being built on the team. You know, I don't know, maybe that's like a Tom Brady deal, but we'll get into that another time, right?
Yeah.
But no, basically, things are kind of falling out there in Seattle. I mean, look, I don't see it because from what we were writing in that, what they later posted in that article was basically stating that they want like 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson. It's like, you know what, and also give us like an extra like 25 million against the cap off of your money that, you know, we'll trade Russell Wilson at that point. But what's crazy is that, you know, you look at a team like the Jets that have these extra first-round picks, and we were just sort of mentioning before why, you know, what if they did some crazy stuff like that and they literally traded Sam Darnold and 3 first-round picks for Russell Wilson to New York? I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but like shit, I mean, they do have the capital to actually get that done.
You know, this is the first time Russell Wilson has ever said anything bad about Seattle since he's been there. So, like, I mean, come on, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt there. I mean, he's right. But then again, maybe it's, you know, his hot wife, Sierra. Maybe she's making, because we all know that women will make you say stuff that you don't really want to say to your boys, but she's going to make you say it to make you a better person. So Sierra's like, Russell Wilson, you better say something, hon. And then, you know, maybe she wants him to go to like New York or LA, you know, she wants to get him out of fucking dreary, rainy Seattle all the time, you know?
It's like half the time you think you're in like Canada when you're in fucking Seattle.
Yeah, what the fuck, man? Bring your fucking raincoat everywhere. It's whack.
Don't they get like 300 days of like overcast and rain a year?
Yeah, I mean, definitely overcast. I think it's a lot of gray. That's what I heard. There's a lot of gray.
Yeah, that's like the worst. Like I'd rather just rain and like be a rain where you're just kind of hanging on the couch than just those like silver days where it's just like cold, damp. Fuck that shit, bro.
You're sad. Like, you're sad 300 days a year, and then all of a sudden when the sun comes out, you just get so fucking thrilled and shit. You must just go wild. Everybody,
don't they have the highest? I think they have the highest suicide rate in the United States.
Oh yeah, if I lived there, I'd fucking.
That's not funny. I'm sorry, I'm laughing.
No, it's not funny.
Facts are facts.
You know, listen. If I had to deal with that kind of weather for 300 days, I'd fucking jump.
Just start swimming outward into the Pacific Ocean and just keep going. Like, fuck it.
Yeah,
I'm a fisherman.
Especially if I was a Giant fan stuck in like the West Coast, Seattle. Like I have to watch the Giants at like what 10 in the morning, shit. Sometimes that would.
Yeah, I tell you what, West Coast, man.
You eat my Cheerios.
All you guys out the West Coast, I don't know how you do it. Look, you gotta get like some of us like to like go out sometimes. You know, not every week, but once in a while, go out on a 1 o'clock game, go to the bar, have a couple beers, have a burger, like. You can't even do that shit on the West Coast. I mean, you can, but it's more like you're going out for brunch or something, man. Like, I don't know. Like, it'd be weird. Oh, brunch and Giants. Yeah.
One of my pre-gaming with mimosas and shit. Like,
yeah, right.
9
like a Bloody
o'clock.
Mary and shit. Like, oh, yeah, this is cool.
Like, yo, fuck that, man. That's a weird life, man.
No, dude, I remember.
Could you imagine?
I was going to say real quick. I was like, I remember going out to this bar called Lansdowne that was on 10th Avenue. And it's still there. It's just, you know, like New York City's reopening. So you're kind of getting used to all that kind of stuff again. And they used to have a crazy NFL Sunday game. Like they would have like people go up and spin a wheel, and literally whatever color the wheel landed on, you would then have a chart, right? And it would be like interception for a return, kickoff for a return, you know, all this crazy shit, you know, like a score within the first 3 minutes, right? And if it landed on one of those things, and they backed this shit up, man, because it happened a couple of times, it landed on there, the entire bar got a free drink. Wherever you sit, whatever you were drinking at that moment, they would literally do it. We were cool with the bartenders, so that just meant we were getting a shot of Jameson every time that shit happened. And I saw that thing happen like 3-4 times, man. It would be so packed. And the whole point of it was, if you got there at like 12 o'clock for a 1 o'clock game, you were done. You couldn't get a seat or nothing. So you would have to get there like 11:15, 11:30, and like just to make sure you secured an area so like you and your boys can like chill and have a couple of drinks and shit. So like I get it. I've kind of done it, but imagine you had to do that in like the West Coast. That means you'd have to get to the bar at like 9:30. You know what I mean? Like 9, like hell no, I ain't doing that shit, bro.
Fucking wait.
Games on at 10 over there.
Yeah. I go off for the 8 o'clock game. It'd be like a normal time.
Yeah, listen, I pregame at like fucking like 11 o'clock when I'm here in New York. Like I can't imagine pregaming at like fucking 7:45 and shit. That's just fucking.
Hey, could you imagine if you were out the night before and you actually stayed out late? It was like 4 in. You got to sit there like start contemplating. Like, am I really gonna fall asleep for 5 hours, or do I just fuck it?
You gotta stay up, man.
Yeah, you just gotta call your Coke guy, and that's it.
That's Coca-Cola for you. Is it Coca-Cola or Pepsi?
That's it. And all the coffee in the world.
Yeah.
No, It's crazy. Another thing that popped up today on the New York Post this time, Marcus Golden. He's over there talking shit about how he was like, oh, you know what? The Giants should have used me more, and shaking his head and going off about this shit. Like he was that kind of player. First of all, you know, it's good that this dude's actual personality is now coming out, because that's not the culture that we're building with this new Giants team. And to see a guy like that, who was, listen, you know, this time last year, it was, we got to figure out a way to keep him on the team. He had a great, 10 sacks, leading sack guy on the team, blah, blah, blah. And yet, we ended up letting him eventually go. We didn't figure it out. We didn't bring him in here. And then all of a sudden, you hear about a year later, this dude running his mouth about how the Giants look. They didn't showcase him enough, and he's this star and blah, blah, blah. You know what? Good. Go to Arizona. That's why they finished 8-8. You know what? All the bullshit hype around that team, screw them. All right. You know what I'm saying? You take that asshole, and we're going to keep the right guys on the team that want to be Giants and are going to play, and they're going to form under this new culture that Judge is bringing to the organization.
100%, man. I couldn't said it better myself. Like with Golden, it's like, sure, we could have used them, but we didn't know fucking Carter and the X-Men were going to get hurt, and they were our two edge rushers, and Carter was having a fantastic year. So you would want to give him like the playing time. It's unfortunate, but so we made the trade or whatever, and he went on his way. But like, there's no need to bring that up. There's no need to talk to the New York Post. You're not in Seriously. New York anymore. So like, hey, be gone, man. Be done with it. But you're right. This is the culture now. So we want a culture. We'll get these guys out. I want guys that want to stay here. And even if they do get traded or leave, they don't have anything bad to say because they had a good experience.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Marcus Golden did that. I thought he was a little bit more kind of a New York Giant type. You could tell he was a little bit outspoken, but nothing crazy. But for him to go out there and just like random offseason, basically take a broadside shot at the Giants, especially, right now, Patrick Graham and Joe Judge are getting, pretty good acclaim around the league right now. And, just on ESPN, all those, they're talking highly of them. So for them to go out of his way and say some shit like that, maybe that tells you why he wasn't getting as much playing time as, you would think he would have coming off the season he had last year. Maybe he just wasn't the type of locker room guy that they wanted, and they didn't want to reward somebody who was a little bit too outspoken with playing time. And then they said, you know what, fuck this guy. They got a 6th-round pick on him out of here. And, now he's in Arizona. He's got to watch out for poisonous snakes and scorpions. And he's probably a little salty about that.
He could. Hey, listen, maybe he's even hurt that he maybe he did want to stay there. Maybe he's like a little bit hurt too. You know what I mean? A little butt hurt. So maybe.
Mike, man, you literally snatched the words out of my mouth right there, man. Yo, seriously, it's like that little crybaby shit. He's like, well, I could have been with the Giants, and they didn't have 8 wins, but they weren't that far off, and that team's looking like they're on the right direction, even though I'm in Arizona and we look good too. It's like, yo, bro, shut the fuck up.
Jealousy, man.
Like, yo, enough with that, man. Like, stop running your mouth, play football, and guess what? Don't we got to play them again this year? Well, no, I got to double check the schedule again. Now I forget, but man, if we do, bro, we got something for him.
yeah, jealousy and make you say some crazy shit sometimes.
Seriously, it sounds like my man needs to get like a quick one to the face or something. I don't
know. Andrew Thomas can line him up if next time we play them.
Pancake that motherfucker. Man.
He'll manhandle him.
You know what I heard too? Another fucking thing I was reading up on with the NFL, like Aaron Jones, man, getting connected to the Miami Dolphins. I mean, that was going on since last year, and now it's starting to heat up even more. You kind of think that's like pretty much a short thing. I would probably bet a huge amount of money on that it's going to happen. I think that's a really good fit.
I mean, look, yeah, he does fit in there pretty well. And look, the Packers didn't waste that 2nd-round pick on A.J. Dillon for nothing, right? That kid's a beast too.
He is.
And he started showing what he could bring to teams. So did a lot of the rookies last season. You can say the same about Akers and DeAndre Swift, a few other names. Even Jonathan Taylor, right? Like, even though that was a big name thrown out there, those guys really started taking off after week 6, 7, 8, 9, right? As the season progressed and they got used to the NFL. And, look, it goes to just show you how much, preseason and OTAs actually matter, right? Because it took these young guys a little way to go. But, man, they all just started going off. And you know what? Dillon just might be sort of that next guy up where he's, like, ready to roll. And if Aaron Jones is going to bounce to Miami, so be it. I mean, look, what's crazy, too? Another name that's sort of kind of being thrown around. And
Jules, hold up. Jules, before you go into that new name, I think, like, since I mentioned it's a good bet, like maybe if there's a bet on DraftKings, since that's our
here we go.
sponsor.
That's right.
Timestamp, Jules. Timestamp. So maybe we put a little action on Aaron Jones going to Miami. If there's ways you could bet on DraftKings, guys, use that code BRAWL. Put in some bets, man. Especially if you live outside of New York. I mean, if you live in New York, then you got to do some fantasy basketball games. But yeah, there's bets that have like certain free agent or franchise tags getting made. Like you could bet that. Feel free, use that code BRAWL. All right,
Definitely, man. And look, the code BRAWL works for every sport. So it's not even like, look, you're into basketball, you're into baseball, which is now getting ready to get underway, hockey, everything else under the sun, even fighting, right? I know they do like the boxing, the MMA, and all that kind of stuff. Throw it down. The BRAWL code will work for it. So definitely check out DraftKings with that, But just because we were talking about running backs, right? The other guy that I just recently saw an article mentioned that would be a good fit is a guy that was written off the charts, right? Like they were like, that's it, he's done, his career's over. Then he gets lucky and signs with Tampa, and then gets buried behind Ronald Jones on Tampa. But what's the nickname I did call him? Playoff Lenny Lombardi, all this bullshit coming out now because the dude had an actual sick playoff run. And yes, when it comes to fantasy, that's been one of my running backs that I've been known to draft here and there, right? But they're saying that he might end up in Seattle. I'm like, son of a bitch. As much as I want to give this dude up because I haven't want to keep a team, and like it just seems like every year I've like stuck to Leonard Fournette. They say that he might be a strong favorite because they're not going to re-sign Chris Carson, and they just have Penny there, and forget the other running back that they have currently, but that he might actually fit into the Seahawks. I'm like, oh man, he ends up on that team with no Chris Carson. I got to keep this fucking dude for another year.
Seattle, like that's one team I just can't draft a running back from. Like I don't know what the hell they do from week to week.
Yeah,
fuck that, man.
That's partially because Carson wasn't healthy. When he was healthy, he put up some RB1 numbers. It's crazy, dude. But like that's why when you mentioned Aaron Jones with Miami, literally I was reading that about Leonard Fournette. It made me think of it immediately, and I'm like, oh man, I was just reading an article kind of similar earlier, like today, about that. Like it's just fucking crazy.
I hope like Wayne Gallman comes back for us. I don't think that's gonna happen. I kind of see him going away, and maybe in a draft. I think we get somebody. I don't think we sign like a free agent.
I don't think so either.
I mean, he's gonna.
I was gonna say I don't think that. The thing is, I don't think that he's gonna be getting this huge contract. He didn't exactly have it. I mean, he played hard, for that stretch of games and stuff like that. But I believe I could be wrong on this, and if I am, shame on me. But I believe Alfred Morris had a better yards per carry than Wayne Gallman did.
It seemed like
so. I mean, I know he had that big run in Seattle. I know he was a big contributor and stuff, but I don't know that Wayne Gallman is like the savior of the team or anything like that. I think what happened was the Giants' offensive line got better at run blocking, and he was able to actually be a decent running back with that. I don't know that he should be taking snaps from Saquon Barkley, or he should be demanding some type of $4 or $5 million a year thing. I don't see that being the case. If he wants to stay, he likes it in New York, he wants to back up Saquon, fine. But I don't think
I can see him getting like a 2-year, $10 million deal somewhere.
Really? You think that much?
Maybe, yeah.
I don't think so, bro.
Just because the way it goes, like with these things, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's 2 years, 3.6. I could be way off.
Method on DraftKings. Wayne Gallman.
That's a guy too. Look, he could sign with the Giants for the right price too. You know what I mean? If it fits, where he knows the system, he doesn't have to go anywhere, he doesn't have to move, doesn't have to change his locker. He could just easily end up just staying with the Giants for the right price. It's not like like John was just basically saying. It's not like he went up and like lit it up and was like, oh man, look, Saquon Barkley ain't shit. This dude had 1,000 yards rushing. No, that didn't happen, right? So like he could take that sort of, like they like to say, that home team discount or homegrown discount, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know. Definitely possible. But
he doesn't catch the ball in the backfield either. I think that they want to incorporate that in the offense and have being able to throw the ball to the running back. He did catch balls, but it wasn't like it was very, very, very seldom that he caught a pass. It was with the one single catch I remember was that one that he, Jones threw it to him over the middle and he kind of like fell backwards catching the ball. It was a pretty dope catch. But I think that they want to incorporate that. I think that's what their intentions were going into this year. And then once Saquon got hurt, they didn't have the guy to
wanted
be
to
explosive at that point.
They wanted to do it. They had Deion Lewis, but he didn't fucking play a lot. Like, he's the guy that catch the ball off the backfield, but he just, I don't know. He was just terrible on kick returns, punt returns. Like, I don't know, man. I don't think.
Yeah, we could definitely do without him.
I think an upgrade coming for sure, man. It's going to be something. I expect it in the draft, though.
Yeah, five or six, something like that. 5th or 6th rounds.
I can see a late round draft pick for a running back for sure.
Sure.
And there's a few names that are out there, and we can go through that, as we get closer to the draft. That not even just from a college perspective, but there's a few free agents that are out there that are good, just decent veteran backups that could be, spell Barkley perfectly. And if we can get, like I said, for the right price, you bring them in, it's absolutely totally worth it. But Mike,
he was getting cut too. Like, there's going to be a lot of cuts coming, like within a few months too. So you never know what's going to.
I mean, look, from today to March 9th, you're going to literally start to see the franchise tags come into place. You're going to start to see people get cut, and then that's going to lead us right into the free agency signings.
Can't wait.
Should be fun.
Sure. Jules, do you know when that starts? Mike, do you know when that starts for free agents, like the official?
It's like the unofficial officials, like March 11th, if I remember correctly. Oh no, sorry, not the 11th. The 12th is a Friday, so it's that weekend. It's the 14th. So it's gonna be like the 14th, and then I think it officially like opens on the 16th.
That's close, bro. That's 2 weeks away, really.
That's what I mean. So all the speculation, all the talk, who are we gonna sign? What are the Giants gonna do? What are the moves gonna be made? Blah blah blah. Well, here's the fucking time now, right? Here it comes. Like literally, today's tag day. We're gonna start to see people get tagged. I would assume probably not until like the weekend, maybe the start of next week, because it's not like franchises are lining up going like, all right, so we're gonna guarantee this guy like $18 million today, right? They're gonna try to still negotiate some kind of contract and work it out. But as we get closer to the March 9th date, I guarantee you're gonna start seeing people get tagged left and right. Like it's just cool to hear that it's finally here, and all the speculation is now shit. We can wake up tomorrow morning and hear that so and so got franchise tagged by their team.
Yeah.
I was saying before, Mike, remember earlier in the week we were having a conversation which was kind of interesting, right? And we were talking about how, with social media, especially Twitter and other things, how crazy overanalyzed shit gets with drafts. Remember that?
Yep.
And real quick too, because I just gotta make sure I give a shout out, because we're actually going to go back, right? Because one of the things that gets criticized quite often has been a big thing with the whole Gettleman era is the 2018 draft, where we had the number 2 pick and we ended up taking Saquon Barkley, right? And the last time that we had a very notable number 2 pick was all the way back in 1981 when a gentleman out of North Carolina named Lawrence Taylor was drafted, right? We're going to get into that in a moment, right? But before we do that, I just want to give a quick shout out to Manscaped, right? And the reason why I got to do the shout out now is because I'm damn sure if Manscaped was around back in the 80s, LT would have probably got that defensive Manscaped award like every fucking game, right?
Every week.
All right. Those of you who might be new listeners, when the season starts, we give out Manscaped awards for the best offense, defense, special teams player. And, obviously LT would have probably won about 4,000 of those things with us, right? Because we would have loved that guy so much so. And it just would have kept going on. But keep in mind, look, go get Manscaped. The holidays might be over. So maybe Valentine's Day. But you know what? Birthdays, anniversaries are still coming up. The whole Manscaped deal, man. We all endorse it. We all have it. It's great, man. It definitely keeps you clean and trimmed down there, grooming out, right? Some of you married guys, you know what? Surprise the lady, go get one, right? And use BRAWL as your code. Get an extra 20% off. Get some of that stuff and use the products for sure.
For sure, man. Especially like the Manscaped cologne. That's fucking dope. I wear that shit every day. Fantastic, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, they got some good stuff on it, man. Just go check out the site. Use a 20% discount and definitely go get some stuff from there. But the reason why we were kind of discussing this is just because there's been a lot of backlash with the whole Saquon Barkley shit going on, right? And Mike, I'm gonna let you go into that a little bit more detail, but kind of go into about how we decided this, and also we came up with the 1981 draft because we had to go back to LT.
Well, dude, everybody, like, especially like on Twitter, if you ever see it, like, people still talk about the Barkley being a mistake. They call Barkley, I forgot the nickname, like Saquon mistake or Barkley mistake, whatever. They have a stupid nickname for him. He's not a mistake. He's a fucking once in a generational type talent. Like, relax. People wanted to trade him or whatever. We all know the fucking story. You know, we wanted more picks. Nobody knew that, Josh Allen was going to turn out to be a great quarterback in Buffalo. He was projected to go 11. Everybody wanted Darnold. Darnold sucks. People were like, oh, we could have got, the guy from the Colts, the offensive guy.
Quentin Nelson.
Quentin
Nelson, right? So they could have got him. But we didn't know. I mean, he was highly rated, but nobody fucking knew like he was going to turn out to be that kind of. So, we could have traded back. But you know what? You need two teams to trade back. So I look back like for the number 2 overall pick back in 1981 was Barkley, right? Not Barkley, Lawrence Taylor. So Lawrence Taylor in 81, like, all right, the Giants, they drafted him. They didn't trade. They didn't look for any other trade option for him. They wanted LT, and they got him. They got a once-in-a-generational type talent in LT. Totally changed our defense around. The first year, sure, they go 9-7, right? But all of a sudden, the next year after LT in 1982, they go 4-5 in the strike-shortened season. And then in 1983, when he comes back, this is all under, for the first 2 years, it was the coach Ray Perkins. And then in 1983, his third year, we got a new coach named Bill Parcells. Sure, he goes 3-12-1, but new coach, new system. Does it ring a bell, people? Like in the third year, all of a sudden, Joe Judge is here now. He's taken over for the previous regimes, and now, like, sure, his record wasn't that great. We almost had a shot at the playoffs because our weak division, but all of a sudden you start to see like, now Barkley's in his third year. You're gonna see like, maybe Joe Judge has that reminiscent of Parcells where you can look at it, look in the mirror. Like history likes to repeat itself, so maybe this is the time. I know, Jules, you want to talk more about who was drafted in that first round and the second round in that 1981 draft with LT. I'll let you have at it, man.
Oh man, because look, I have a habit too. It's because I find this to be great because you'll literally sit there and everybody wants to be like the armchair quarterback and Captain Hindsight, right? And they're always like, oh man, if we would have traded this and done that, we could have this guy, and 17 more picks, and oh my god, and It's great, right? So I love looking back at these drafts because they're easy to find. You can just check it out, Google it in, and boom, you find it, right? Some of the names that were taken after Lawrence Taylor. Now, so be it, right? LT, probably the best name out of all of them, right? Arguably, right? But some of the names, some of the Hall of Fame names that follow Lawrence Taylor, where you're like, well, think about it. If we would have gotten this guy and traded our draft picks, what other superstars could we have had, right? Because a guy like Ronnie Lott went number 7 that draft, okay? You had another guy who later on in the second round with the 38th pick, a guy named Michael Singletary. Yeah, I think that's a pretty big name there, right?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, they argue that he was one of the best middle linebackers of all time. Yeah, he was taken with the 38th pick later on in that draft in the second round.
Wait, Jules, so we could have traded back, get the 7th pick, and another second rounders. We could have had Ronnie Lott and
Michael Singletary.
And give up LT.
Boom! Oh, man. Could you imagine? Look at this shit in hindsight. And then if you would have maybe traded and gave up Ronnie Lott, you had another guy named Howie Long that went 48th in that draft in the second round. Oh, could have put a D tackle in there with fucking Singletary.
Maybe we could have got 2 second rounders. We could have got 2 second rounders and the number 7 pick. Oh man, why didn't we do that? Seriously, dude. It's so ridiculous. And then there's another guy that not a big name, but he's a Hall of Famer. In the second round, the Saints took Ricky Jackson, linebacker, 51st pick. And, but like it's amusing, right? Because you can literally sit there, you get guys like Mike Singletary and fucking Howie Long, Hall of Famers, first ballot and shit. And yeah, technically the Giants could have traded all the way back down to like say 28th in the first round and drafted Mike Singletary and then still been able to take Howie Long, right? I mean, like, and did all that shit, then had extra draft picks, and who the fuck else knows, right? We could have went crazy and have Ronnie Lott with it too. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's why you can't look at those draft decisions and make that much of it and say, oh, well, Quentin Nelson, and he would have been better, and oh, we could have got a quarterback in the first year. We should have done this, we should have done that. Things have been done, and for the most part, they're working out, right? And I've been joking for the last week and a half. I even had articles and shit put out where I said, look, technically right now, without Dak re-signed to the Cowboys and Wentz with that trade, Daniel Jones is the best quarterback in the NFC East. You can't argue that. What are you going to say, Jalen Hurts is better? Who the fuck is better than him, right? Alex Smith, the Washington doesn't even want him, right?
I mean, like, so give me a break with that nonsense, man. And that's why we put it in there. It's like, yo, I would love to have seen Twitter in 1981 or 1982 or 83 after that draft and be like, yo, we could have had this guy, that guy. Like, it's absurd, man. And the bottom line is, don't read into it too much, right?
Put it to
Use
bed.
it for what it is. Say your opinion because you're entitled to it, but don't follow like a sheep with the mainstream and just kind of go along with it. Be like, oh, well, this is what everybody's saying, so I'm gonna go along with it. Fuck all that, man. Be a man if I can step up and have your own opinion.
Because you would not have done that anyway.
Right.
Stop with that. Like, stop reading all that bullshit. Like it's a reason why you play Madden and you're not a GM yourself. Like, stop bitching about it. Get over it. That's our guy, and we have to root for him. That's it.
Speaking of this, and I just wanted you guys, I haven't said anything. I've just been listening. And I want you to know this has been like French vanilla, just nice, smooth, easy, beautiful listening. Because I agree with you 100%.
Yep.
Little bit of a plug. A lot of our listeners probably listen to other people. That's fine. Tomorrow night, I most likely, it's set up. I'm going to the mountains. I may not have service, but I'm going to be going on Pest the Analyst channel tomorrow on YouTube, and we're going to have a debate about this. I'm very pro Barkley. He is apparently against him, along with 90% of Giants Twitter. And for those of you looking for an education, you will get one tomorrow. Make your popcorn, whatever you want to do, a little butter, a little salt. You want to put a little drink on the side, whatever you want. But maybe even grab a notepad, grab a pencil, and take some fucking notes. All right, because that's what's going to happen tomorrow on the channel. And
all right, so you're hearing it first. It's going to be tomorrow, which means that by the time ours is launched, this is going to probably be the same day that he's doing it, and then that might be released on Thursday, Friday, or sometime later on in the week. But definitely check it out because look, you got John stepping up saying he's gonna bring it for Giants ball right now, right? I know I'm tuning in for that shit.
That's what I'm saying. I'm taking the name of the show seriously. I'm gonna go there, and it's gonna be a fight.
He's gonna start going down the slap parade.
Yeah, it's bro. Listen, I got McConkey's towel. He got his own float. You guys have your own float in the slap parade. That shit's fucking. I'm gonna start getting fucking pinatas and everything, bro.
That's what you sound like a pinata. Every time you make a point, just smack the shit out of it.
That's what it is. I got Rick James slap
that shit's on YouTube. Just make sure it hangs like right there. Like you make the points and be like, just smack the shit out of that thing.
Bang, another one.
Right. I'm gonna have a DJ Khaled soundboard. I'm gonna press that shit.
Another one.
No, I'm telling you, that would be great, bro. His ratings will go through the roof on that one.
Just these people, like I think a lot of them. I think a lot of them are like early 20s, late teens, like people. And I'm not trying to be fucking boomer, get off my lawn. Like I'm not. I'm gonna be 34 on Thursday. I'm not exactly old, but at the same time, I have been watching football for, the better part of 20 years. I've seen a lot of drafts. I've seen a lot of seasons. I've seen a lot of things that were talked about one way, ended up turning out a completely different way. And after a while, you just get to know that that's just what sports in general, not even just the NFL, is. And, when you're 19, 20 years old, you got into football 4 or 5 years ago, you get your first pube 3 or 4 years ago, you don't have that wealth of information at your disposal. All you have is what you're Googling. And that's what's throwing you guys off. There's a lot of human element to football. And again, we're going to share it. And we've already said it on here. Take notes. You're going to learn something.
Hey, listen, when you get that first pube, don't be afraid to shave it with a Manscaped product, all right?
Bro.
Hey, listen,
you get that 20% off of BRAWL.
You get that 20% off. You one-haired pube idiot. Listen, we have another rumor that just popped up. I know a few people are going to like this. There's rumors about Juju Smith between the Giants, Jets, and Raiders coming here. I do not want this guy here. I don't like him, man. He's not. I mean, I know you guys are gonna say it, but he don't fit the culture. Like that's it, man. That's only my thoughts on him, man. I think he's a good talent, but I don't think he has it in him to be here in New York.
Who's this now?
Juju.
Oh, Juju. Oh. I missed that part. I don't know what the hell happened. I think someone was beeping outside the window. My ride might be here. No. Nah, you're right, dude. Like, yo, Juju to me, I think like what I said about Marcus Golden earlier, I can see he's that kind of player, right? He was dancing on the fucking emblem against Buffalo and doing all that other nonsense. He apologizes one week and then does something else stupid the following week. It's like, Look, dude, if you're gonna apologize for something, the only way you could be sincere about what you did prior is to not do something stupid and bonehead the next week. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that shit. He's immature. To me, I can see Juju being like another Odell almost. If he came to New York, imagine he comes to New York as a bomb year. Dude, forget it. This guy will be thinking like he owns the city and shit. Like it's too big of a city for him. He needs a quarterback like Big Ben. That latest thing I saw was that Pittsburgh wants to bring him back. They need someone like that could kind of contain him as much as possible.
I don't want him.
Yeah, I'm not about that, bro. I like the guys who are team guys. You know, when you got guys dancing on logos, starting shit, and creating stuff that's specifically about them, not about the team. The thing about it is, you can't just like have guys like that and be like, oh, I want to have a good culture and then there. Because once you work in an environment, like everybody goes to work, right? You go into an office, you have a job. There's some certain jobs you have, like you were talking about before, where just the culture of the job is good. Everybody gets along, they have fun, they hang out outside of work, this and that. And then all of a sudden, someone gets moved to a different store, a different office, you get a new guy, new manager, and all of a sudden everything is just different. You don't want to work as hard. It's harder to get to work. You're not as excited. You don't perform as well. It's just what happens. You can't have one guy in there like that. You got to have 53 guys in there that want to go to war for each other, want to go brawl for each other. So, sorry, Juju.
No, absolutely, dude. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more there for sure.
You can come to Jersey. Just go wear green.
Yeah. So we can pee on you and make it blue.
I mean, look, it's funny you said that because, like, I could see Juju end up like on the Jets or something like that. That is a strong possibility there. I mean, you know, the Steelers are set up with Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool, where they could easily like get rid of Juju and still have two really good receivers. So, I mean, it is possible. That is a name that's thrown around there. But I'm going to keep sticking to what I'm saying here, and I'm going to hold strong. And like I said, you know, if we're bringing in a wide receiver, I'm thinking Corey Davis or Curtis Samuel. That's I'm going to stick with that hard. I think the Curtis Samuel thing is more just because of the fact of his relationship to Gettleman, and that's why he's becoming this fan favorite. I really truly believe, and I'll stand by it, I think Corey Davis is the better fit just because of his size and his talent ability that's there. He's a quiet guy. You never heard anything about Corey Davis. I mean, you never heard him bitch once when he was in Tennessee about, you know, when Mariota couldn't get him the football and Derrick Henry was, you know, getting 400 carries a season. You didn't hear shit. You know what I mean? This guy keeps quiet. He's that big frame receiver we've been looking for. I'm on Corey Davis as that sort of like, okay, we didn't go, you know, 1AA, you know, as far as getting those top guys, which I think are all going to be franchise tag, with maybe the exception of Galladay and Juju. But he's the next one down that's just as good. And, he's only 26 years old, man. Things are looking up. He's coming off his best season. He stays healthy where he's the actual man on the team as far as receiving corps is concerned. I don't know, man. Things could be really good with that guy on the team.
I'm with either one of them, man. Actually, like Samuel, like he don't drop a ball. Like that's the stat I was reading up on him, and that's kind of important. To be a wide receiver in the NFL. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you catch everything that's thrown to you, that's pretty good. Like I want him on there. So yeah,
just ask Evan Ingram.
I don't want no drops. He's like Evan Ingram right now. Like he's dropping something in the kitchen. Like he went out to the kitchen, get like a nice like sandwich. He dropped it on the kitchen floor, man. You got to pick that shit up.
he was leaving the house. He dropped his car keys. He's like, shit.
He's like, I dropped my car keys again. He's like, I went to the mailbox, get out the mail. He dropped all the mail in the wind and fucking just blowing on the street. My man drops everything, man.
No, so it was funny too, real quick, just to kind of piggyback on the Curtis Samuel thing. You're right. People that have kind of debated and talked to about what Curtis Samuel was saying, that he's also never really had a shot to be the number one guy on the team, a true number one on that team, especially that when he first came on, at Cam Newton, he wasn't really that guy that threw to his receivers. So he's going to kind of overshadow in that sense. So I don't know, maybe we get Curtis Samuel at a discount. He ends up being the guy. I'm not sure. I'm a little bit more of a bigger fan of Corey Davis just because he's the bigger frame type receiver, and we haven't had that on the Giants in a while.
It definitely will be a discount for those guys for sure, compared to like a Kenny Galladay. So maybe that is the route we go to.
I'm fine with that. We don't need to have the one AA receiver like you said. We need a guy who's going to demand attention and to be schemed around to open up. Shepard, Slayton, Ingram if he's on the team, Barkley. That's what you want. You want a guy that's going to draw attention and to actually catch the ball when it's thrown to him, be able to get open, and that's really what you're looking for. But that
and give Daniel Jones a true red zone target. I mean, listen, that's what these big receivers end up doing. They're these big body guys that you could like throw to the end zone. I mean, how often is Mahomes looking for a guy like Kelsey in the end zone when he's scrambling around on the 10-yard line, right? You know, they have these because Gronk, even for Brady in the Super Bowl, right? You know, it's a big body dude that's just there to catch the football, you know? And then, of course, all these great receivers that I don't even have to mention, but that's what they get, you know? That's where they really step up their game because they're these big body receivers that could body out these smaller corners and win a jump ball.
Well, what, Jules,
Dude,
what about
how dope would it be if next season we start the season off? We have Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. Obviously, Saquon's healthy. You have, I guess, Curtis Samuel or you know, whoever is going to be that, you know, 1A receiver or wide receiver 1 for us. Slayton, Shepard, and if we're able to get our hands on Kyle Pitts, have Ingram as your secondary option / slot receiver / tight end 2 type of deal. That would be a fucking nightmare offense, man. That would be ridiculous. You have 2 guys who are 6'4", 6'5" plus. Slayton's not small. You have speed all over the place. That would be a fucking scary offense.
That's, dude, John, you really you read my mind. That's where I was going with my next fucking comment. Like, I wouldn't mind like a Pitts and, you know, Curtis Samuel, you know, keeping Evan Ingram around, even though I think if we draft Pitts, I think maybe we do trade Evan Ingram for a pick after the fact, you know, for next year. I don't know. Maybe they do keep them both, like a 2 tight end set, because, you know, don't forget Evan Ingram is kind of cheap, so they're not forced to trade him. You know, they already picked up his, you know, 50-year option or whatever, so he's good for a minute. So maybe you do keep them both, like the tight end set. I tell you, that's definitely weapons for Danny Jones to have. And if he don't come out on top, you know, next year, then, which, you know, I don't expect him to falter. I expect him to have a good year with these guys. Then you might be thinking about moving on from a quarterback, but you can't judge him like without nobody around him. That's just ridiculous.
No, you know what's another thing that's got to be kept in mind that's kind of not even being discussed in regards to Pitts, because they're literally kind of pumping Pitts up to be, you know, a day 1 starter, and this guy's going to come in and he's going to have 65 catches, you know, plus as a tight end, 800 yards and fucking 7 touchdowns, which he might not, right? I mean, don't forget about Hawkinson over in Detroit, right? He was coming in, he was baby Gronk, they were nicknaming him in his rookie season, and he didn't do much. He didn't have a bad year, but he didn't do much. You know, these tight ends, and it's something I said last night too, was, you know, you got to give some players time to develop. They need a year or 2 to actually develop, get used to the speed of the NFL, you know, the adjustment, the bigger players, guys that have been doing this professionally for the last 8 to 10 years, right? They got to go up against these guys now. So, you know, it's a huge change than playing, you know, on Saturday in college for the last 4 years, right? So, you know, you got to keep that in mind. So keeping Evan Ingram around, at least for the first season, and then seeing what you get out of Pitts is not a terrible idea. Why not? Have 2 tight ends. You know, Garrett likes that kind of system, right? That kind of fits into what we're doing, especially if you end up signing a Curtis Samuel or Corey Davis, and then you have Slayton and you have, you know, Shepard and all these guys going around. Look, the offensive line, you know, we might be, you know, we're going to obviously talk more about the draft, you know, in the next coming weeks, but there's some definitely, this is like a tackle deep where you can get a great tackle in the 2nd round and keep building that old line. And look, man, you know, the offense can literally take that next step next year because, look, you know, considering what we did this past season, we can only go up from here.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Like, you know, listen, remember we had a tight end that we're waiting around for years on, Vitante Shenko. Remember him? He was supposed to be our next tight end, like with
Miami,
Shockey.
right?
Yeah, with Shockey, with Shockey. Shockey's got money, and in like we were expecting both of them to have like, you know, our 2 tight end set, and then he never like really panned out. You know what I mean? But at least we gave him like a few years. So, yeah, we'll see how it all works out, man. Hopefully Daniel Jones gets some weapons. We're all fucking excited next year.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing, right? Like I said, and you know what? You know, because of all this talk and all this anticipation and buildup, I'm like hoping dudes start getting franchise tagged in like the next hour, right?
No,
I'm like, just tag this motherfucker already. Like, let's get it over with.
I'm scrolling, man.
I know who's free and who's not. And you know, it's crazy too. Like, depending upon what kind of tag they actually put on the guy, they could still, it doesn't happen often, you know, it's happened a few times in NFL history, but they could still literally tag somebody and then trade them, right? You know, I saw, you know, it's not necessarily that as soon as one of these guys get tagged that they're done, they're not going to be able to hit free agency or end up in a trade, rather. It just means that they cannot now just go ahead and sign with someone.
I expected like we said before about the draft picks, they got to get draft compensation. They're not going to trade him for like any other player. It's all about draft picks. That's all it is. It's whatever you could get for just keeping your guy around or tagging him. That's the only reason.
That's it. So we actually had a Brawl Network meeting last week, right? And literally a couple good things came out of it. And the first thing we got to do is we got to actually welcome one of our new guys who's going to be our writer for the Giants Brawl Network, for the Giants Brawl on the network directly. And his name is Luke. And I know I'm gonna probably mess up his last name, but I'm gonna go for it, Mike. I'm gonna go for it,
man. Go.
All right. Luke Krumich. All right. I think I pretty much nailed it. If not, Luke's gonna be listening. He's gonna let me know later on. But if not, from now on, we're just gonna call him Luke Crew. That's it, man. That's his new name. All right. Good guy. We met with him the other day. He's gonna be putting out articles for us now too. So you're gonna find a whole bunch of articles now coming out on Twitter, on the actual Brawl Network site, on Facebook, etc. But keep an eye out for Luke Crew. Mike, what's his handle on Twitter?
It's let me check this out. Luke Crew for the Big Blue Crew.
That's it. Luke Crew coming through.
Luke we're
gonna call him Luke Crew coming through for the Giants Brawl.
I got his handle here. He's Luke Krumich, KRUMICH at Krum_13, KRUM_13. I read a few of his articles already. He's good.
Yeah, he did a mock draft. He did a mock draft with a couple guys. Like he had Pitts going first round, second round. He had Leatherwood for the offensive tackle for Alabama. So I like those. I like those two picks right there. Check out his writing, people. Man, he's good, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun, man. That's what I'm saying. The Giants Brawl is definitely looking to take it to the next level. Up and coming with this season, and having him aboard is awesome, man. He's a cool dude. We were hanging out talking to him the other night, and look forward to seeing some of the articles he's gonna post for us. But another thing that came up, right? And Mike, I don't know, man, but this was kind of got me a little teed off, right? They actually said what was some of the most downloaded and listened to other broadcasts within the network, right? So, Mike and I were already kind of, John, we're kind of figuring that, we got this, we're the best one. But it turns out, and listen, it pains me to say this, right? But guys that are listening out there, you can help us. We're going to get to that in a moment, but it pains me to say that currently we are the second NFC East listened to podcast on the Brawl Network. And we are trailing no other than the Philadelphia Eagles. Bro, like I almost threw up in my mouth right now, and I just had to admit to that shit, right?
Disgusting. I'm ashamed of ourselves.
I mean, listen, in our only defense here, they've been going a little bit longer than we have, so they got a little up, little step up on us in that area. But we are going to work out, huh?
No, it's because the Eagles fans, they don't do shit with their lives. All they do is just sit around and do nothing. Of course, they're going to listen to every goddamn Eagles situation or podcast or television going on because all they do is sit at home. They watch fucking Jerry Springer, fucking Maury Povich to see what baby, if it's yours or not. And then they all watch fucking Philly shit all fucking day and night. That's what it is.
How bad is the Eagles, right? Where literally their quarterback that was supposed to be their franchise guy ends up getting traded for like bullshit picks. And then he goes there, and some dude that was just a rookie, right? Basically punks him, and he's like, "So, Michael Pittman Jr., can I get number 11?" He's like, "Nah, bro, I'm gonna keep that number."
Yeah, but you ain't gonna. He's like, "You ain't gonna be around here that much longer." Like you've got a year.
I'm like, you're supposed to be throwing him the football, man. Like, and he's like, "Yeah, nah, bro, we're good. I'm gonna keep number 11."
Yo, Pitt's like, you got about 6 games before we bench you for somebody.
Yeah, he's like, "Yo, you here? We're gonna probably draft the quarterback anyway, dude. Like, you ain't getting 11."
He's gonna fucking Oh, that's great, man.
But listen, man, guys that listen out there, we appreciate everything. But look, knowing that we're chasing the Eagles here, we want to surpass them. If we can surpass them by draft, that'd be awesome. But definitely by the start of the regular season. So when we're having a Giants Brawl tailgate party outside of the Meadowlands to kick off the season, you guys can all come up to us and thank us and know that we passed them. So all we're asking tonight is you make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, or just shoot a text to one of your friends that hasn't heard the show yet, man. And just send them the latest one. Be like, "Yo, check these dudes out." Because like I said, we trying to take down the Eagles brawl, man. I talk mad shit on Twitter, and I had to like calm myself down a little bit. But again, we're the Brawl Network. So we're the Brawl Network. I'm gonna fucking bring it. Just like John is gonna be slapping the shit out of a pinata tomorrow. Every time he makes a good point about Barkley, he's gonna smack the shit out of that thing. That's what we're looking to do here. So as the Brawl Network, we better be the most listened to podcast going down in the NFC East, if not the whole goddamn Brawl Network by the time the season starts.
For real. Follow us on Facebook, man. Follow us on the Instagram account, Giants Brawl NYC on Instagram, man. Like, come on, man, bring it, man. Let's
seriously, because
thank you for all the fans that are listening already, man. Thank you, man. We appreciate you guys. If you want to reach out and you think you got what it takes to come on the pod and be like a guest for like 15, 20 minutes, hit us up, man. You might want to come on. Like, come on, check it out.
Absolutely.
Definitely do that. We should have guests on our fans, but our fans, dude, just tell your friends to tell their friends, and we could all be friends.
That's right. I heard that line before.
Yeah, it works, right? Right. And definitely check out that Facebook page, because we started exploding that thing, man. That thing has been like literally since we really took it over and started driving it up, man. We've gotten so many people to jump on that page and get into it. That's going to be a community, as we mentioned, that Luke Crew dude, he's going to be posting articles on there. We're going to keep shit going. It's going to be Giants Brawl all week, right? So the podcast is going to be sort of like the kickoff to the week to just kind of get the spirits going and the juices flowing. And then, the Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all that shit's going to keep it going. Because trust me, knowing that we're chasing the Eagles, I'm going to be bringing a lot of shit talking to the Eagles Brawls as the season gets closer, draft picks. Man, if we do a live stream and they're on, could you imagine when that 6th pick comes on, the shit that's going to be coming out of my mouth?
Man, everybody's going to be on fire, man. We got the best spot out there, man. We got bitches in the living room getting it on, and they ain't leaving till 6 in the morning. I don't know where I came up with that line, man. Holy shit, what is that? Dre or Snoop or some shit, man? It's in the back of my head.
But make sure to catch John's episode tomorrow, because like I said, John, I kind of put you on the spot, man. You got like a party city or some shit like that near you, or on your work route or something?
Party city?
Yeah, bro, you got to get that fucking pinata, man. That's it. Like you got. If not, we're gonna have that shit. We're gonna have that shit on this for next week on Giants Brawl. You can catch it on Facebook. We're gonna be smacking the shit out of that thing, like.
Got video of that shit.
You gotta live up to it, right? So
I don't know if I curse on there, but he's gonna have to just have a drop button. That's just what it is.
Oh, well, listen, he's gonna have to go back through it and mute it, right? Like, I know if it's a YouTube thing, they kind of get a little weary about the curses. You can't be going as crazy as we do. They're definitely not as unfiltered, but you can sneak in an F-bomb and shit and all that kind of stuff here and there. You know what I mean? You just can't be going crazy like that motherfucking bitch ass motherfucker.
Right. Pretend like you're
I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna bring intelligent, thoughtful answers, and I'm gonna ask leading questions that is gonna make my point for me, and it should be pretty hysterical, honestly, because at the root of it, it's so insane to say that Saquon Barkley was a bad pick that it's so ridiculous, man. It's the goldfish. It's the goldfish syndrome that we have. That we haven't seen it in the last couple of months, what he can do on a football field, so we just forget and just say, oh, he's a running back, and that's it. Dude's a dynamic back. We need to make that a thing.
John, if my handle was at the NYG Slap Parade, I'd have like a fucking blue pinata, and I'd put like NYG Slap Parade like as a stick or something on there, and stick it every time I make a point. I'm like, that's why they call me the Slap Parade. Pow!
Slap a bitch. Wayne Brady next one.
You gotta slap him. I'm sorry, that should be great, dude.
Bro, I got to think of baby powder sitting in my bag right now. We're getting ready.
Even better, bro. You be like, all right, I got something coming up about Barkley. You start powering up your hands, and we smack you see a big cloud of white dust.
He can make Wayne Brady slap a bitch.
That's it. Like, this body call me the Slap Parade, motherfucker.
Have fun, man. We're expanding, man. We're going on other podcasts. We're bringing in fans, man. Everybody come fucking check us out, man.
And and one other thing too, for sure, without doubt. Listen, we're gonna start putting it out there now, because this is actually going to happen for the draft coming up on April 29th. We are going to do a live stream. We are still kind of working out the details that we can get that live stream to happen actually live at a bar. Granted, it's going to have to really depend on how these, bars and everything open up in New York City. we got one good thing of news on Monday. They announced, Cuomo said that he's now opening up the indoor capacity to 35%. You know, April 29th, hopefully the weather will be nicer. So maybe we could set up something at a bar. We have like a little outdoor section where we could do something from there. But 100%, regardless if we end up at a bar or not, we're definitely going to do a live stream. So that's something to kind of circle on the calendar there. You're going to see us going live, talking shit about picks that are going on. That's why I was mentioning the Eagles brawl, because you'll see me react to what the fuck they do with the number 6 pick when we fucking talk shit about them. And man, with that 11th pick, you know I'm going to go nuts. As long as it's not Jalen Wilder, because you might just see me lose my shit. But that's something to definitely keep in mind, you know. And hopefully we can get it where it's at a bar somewhere in New York, where people can come down and hang out, see us live. We'll be giving shit away. You know, that's what we're hoping to do. But again, that's going to depend on what Cuomo does and COVID and all that kind of shit. But regardless, we're definitely agreed that we're going to do a live stream for the draft. So that should be something fun. That'll be April 29th on that Thursday. Circle that shit, because Giants Brawl is waiting, looking to bring it.
Yeah,
that's going to be here before you know it, man. It's going to be March in a few weeks, a few days. It's bananas. It's
this is like a 2-month in advance shit. And we're gonna have Luke Crew from the Blue Crew coming through, and he's gonna be putting out all types of shit. And hopefully, like I said, if we can get into a bar, you'll be reading articles on that and promoting the bar. But with all that said, John, is there one other thing?
Well, I was gonna say next week, I think we're gonna have a special guest on.
Yes.
Yeah. Please. So, it's Justin Panic from Talking Giants, set up for next week. We're gonna be discussing not only the 2018 draft class. He has a couple of things to say about that. Justin is a very intelligent, younger dude who has very, very strong opinions about that. So we'll discuss that. We'll also discuss what's going on, you know, this offseason and what to look forward to in the 2021 season with the Giants. So look out for that next week. Catch us next week on that.
Absolutely.
Right, definitely. And like I said, the other one that I was on last night, make sure you check that out. Big Blue in the Bronx, right? That was just dropped tonight. So it'll be out there on Twitter. We'll paste it on Facebook. You'll be able to see that. Again, if you want to reach out to us directly, you can catch my man, Jay Depot, at NYG Slapper Ray. He's going to be slapping the shit out of things tomorrow night when he fucking comes on and talks about Barkley. You know where to find Mike Train and Mike Train at MFT, myself, Jules at Jules NYC1. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the good stuff. Giants Brawl, we're out this week. We'll see you next week.